How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Whole Family Gaming Podcast, where we're here to talk about our favorite games, other nerdy subjects, and whatever else we feel like talking about. I'm going to be eman321, boom. And joining me here today is going to be the one and only Matt's Wildcard. Matt, how's it
What's
going?
going on, everyone? It's
Dude,
been a while.
I know it's been a while. I know we talk a lot, but I just feel like it's different actually talking to you on this podcast.
It's time to bring the energy back to whole family gaming with this podcast.
I agree. I mean, you're actually doing stuff and uploading Doom videos and whatnot on your channel, so that's pretty cool, though. I'm glad you're actually doing something. Me, hopefully that'll change soon. So,
Everybody write in the comments, Eman 321, boom, start recording more.
I might need that actually. All right, for today's episode, we're actually going to be talking about controllers in general, just whatever we can bring up, think about. We're going to be talking about it, and we actually have a lot of different ones that I want to start talking about. I know Matt has some stuff he actually wants to rant about, so but before we get into that, let's kind of delve more into our lives and stuff like that, and we're talking about like what we've been playing recently. Matt, I know it's been a little different for you right now, but what you kind of been playing, dude?
I mean, I'm still doing Doom. I've been a little inconsistent. Life is kind of, taking its toll, I guess, a little bit on my gaming life. So I haven't been as active as I want to be, but I'm gonna definitely change that. I'm kind of figuring things out now with as far as what we're doing. But regardless, I did try playing a little bit of the New World beta. I wasn't a huge fan. We'll go another topic for another day. But mostly just playing Doom, playing some of Mario Golf, playing some stuff on the Switch, kind of getting a little excited for Sonic Colors Remastered, which
I
is probably
heard
going to
about
be.
that.
Yeah, I'm excited to play it. I've been watching a Gamer Apologist, I believe his name is, but he's on YouTube. He does a lot of videos on Sonic, and he's just like blowing my mind.
I can't wait to play in actual HD. I just want to look at it.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right.
What about you?
For me, let's see. I was actually playing some of my. I let my girlfriend borrow my 3DS a little while ago. She took a trip outside the States, so I let her borrow my 3DS because I didn't want to let her borrow my Switch because I want to play Mario Golf. So then it's just been sitting on my desk, and I actually fired it up a little bit. And 3DS, spoiler, it's going to be one of the things I actually talk about in this episode. But I've been playing a little bit of Rhythm Heaven Fever. I love rhythm games, so it was just something I wanted to get back into a little bit. Other than that, I've actually been playing a lot of Mario Golf, so I can get better at it, so I can beat Matt. New DLC just came out yesterday or something, so I kind of want to try that out. Something about there's a ranked mode now, so I want to see how terrible I am compared to people online. I haven't played online at all, so I'm ready to get crushed and see if there's some type of weird meta out there. And funny enough, too, like other games we've been playing was Keep Talking and No One Explodes. I've played that for years, and I'm just glad I actually got to show that to you. Because every time, it's like, if you guys haven't heard about it before, it's a bomb defusal game. Basically, one person is on the TV, computer, whatever, and trying to defuse a bomb. However, they don't have the instructions, and you play with someone else who has the bomb manual, but they can't see the screen. And you just have to describe different ways to defuse the bomb, and it sounds kind of easy when you say it like that, but it's not like a typical manual. Like, I think one of the first things that confuses people, I'll ask Matt, like, hey, what do you see? He's like, oh, I see like a keypad with a bunch of stuff on it. I'm like, okay, what do you see? I see like an octopus holding a stick. I see like a half Walt Disney symbol. I was like, what the hell is he talking about? Half Walt Disney symbol. So
It's a fun game. I enjoy it a lot. I definitely want to do like a big group thing with that. I feel like it's a good, like, fun thing to do with like a bunch of people.
Yeah, when I used to have like game nights and everything, I would always be on in my bedroom, like with on my computer and whatnot. So people always loved it. So if you ever see like some high scorers on my account on Steam, it's not me. I guarantee you, it's not me. All right.
Yeah, it's definitely fun.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to play again. Let's see, but all right, let's kind of delve into what we're gonna be talking today, Matt. I know this was a topic you've been wanting to talk about for a while.
Well, I'll definitely say this: you definitely brought more to my attention than I thought. I was thinking more traditional controllers, but we're going out there.
Oh, we're gonna talk
We're
about
going out
every
there.
controller.
We're going out there for
Because
sure.
you want to start it off being like more traditional controllers, like things we play with every day. You see, like when you go to like Walmart or something nowadays or something, you go to the store, GameStop, whatever. I'm pretty sure you kind of had those controllers in mind, and I just kind of went really into it. I was like, oh, this I forgot about this controller, and I just thought about like some really limited edition controllers, like the like the Dragon Quest slime controller. That's what sparked everything. I was like, what is like way different like that? And then it just kind of rolled, like snowballed and everything too. So, Matt,
Well,
what was your like?
I don't know if we should. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say like, when do you think of like controllers and everything? Like what are some of your favorite controllers?
So I feel like controls are a very pivotal part of gaming. Like
Yes.
you can have a great game, but if the controls are jank or dated, like for instance, the best example that I can give is the the Mario pack, the 3-pack that came on the Switch.
Okay.
Like
Oh
playing
yes.
a dated control like Mario 64 was on that game, it felt like it was dated and it kind of took away a little bit from that. Now, that could be that we could go ahead and make the argument that the N64 controller is just built for that game. Whatever you think, that's all on you. I don't know. But for me, the point is like you have to have a good control mechanics and
Yes.
like flow, comfort, all that stuff all has to come in as a factor. And I mean, the one that I think captures it the most, spoiler alert, we'll start it off early. If I had to have a gun to my head, said, Matt, what is your favorite controller you ever played with? If you had to have one controller for the rest of your life, which one would it be? I would say the Xbox 360 controller.
Oh really? Wow. What a lame-o. Because in my opinion, best controller is the Xbox One controller. So
Are we talking about the Xbox Series X, or are we talking about?
I actually haven't played too much with the Xbox Series X controller, too much to kind of give some justification to that, but I play a lot with my Xbox One controller. It's basically the controller I play mainly when I'm on PC,
Yeah,
and it's just so comfortable. And like ergonomically, it feels great. Triggers feel great. Buttons are rounded and everything too. I like it. D-pad's kind of trash, but who really uses the D-pad to play anything anymore?
I mean, I have one too.
Actually, D-pad's
I
not too
have
bad on
mine
this.
too as well. I love it. I mean, I got one of the elite ones where you could get the extra controls and like
Yeah.
you can change the triggers and how much they go down and all that stuff. I love it. It's great. Like you said, it does the same thing for me. Like I can play it, use it. Amazing for my PC. It was really good when we were playing Halo, when we did our System Link Halo night. That was really
fun.
fun that we did. And yeah,
Like I say, just everything about it. Like when I think about a good controller, it has to feel good ergonomically. Like it has to feel right in your hands.
well, the
Like
only thing is though these are good, and I know that there's definitely customization, and that's when we go into like serious controls, but like the 360 sticks just always felt more better. Like these ones feel a little too loose for me at times. And I know again, there's ways with especially more advanced ones, and I think the Xbox Series X has something where you can like change out the like style of the sticks and all that stuff. But um yeah, there was just something about the sticks of the 360 that were just perfect.
let's see. Question: do you have a 360 controller on you right now? Or is that was that an Xbox One? Yeah, that was an Xbox One. Yes. Okay,
That
so
was
I
an
have
Xbox
I have
One.
a question for you. Like I'm sure you've seen an Xbox 360 controller, like like around today's time and everything. Dude, for some reason, every Xbox 360 controller I've touched, just it's not really worn out too much. Like you've seen older controllers back in the day, and everything gets worn out. Like N64 controllers, those were out so
The
terribly.
drift.
Yes. But then like every time I play like so I did a lot of like I do a lot of bargain shopping. I played like I've done a lot of PC gaming where people would just always have an Xbox 360 controller to plug in because it's very comfortable. Everyone always has it, cheap, whatever. And every time like I see an old one, it just feels the same as forever ago. I mean, of course, a little bit of wear and tear, but it plays just fine. I think they're built to last, especially when people just start spiking the controllers. I think they started learning.
Oh man, that's one thing I'll say, because like another controller I love is the Super Nintendo controller.
I
Like if we're
love
gonna
it.
go back in the day, I spiked that thing so many times as a kid, and its durability lasted forever.
Oh man. Oh yeah. I was gonna
And
say they're a
and
hard
it
shell.
honestly, I will say this though, like when I would play with those old controllers, not the NES, not the NES controller, but the Super Nintendo controller, you could just tell it was made with it was made from plastic. Like it just feels like it's like cheap, but it's a great controller. That's the thing. It's a great controller, but it feels cheap.
I can kind of get what you're talking about because it's very light too, so you can
Yes, it
obviously tell the
is.
plastic compared to like some other controllers like the Sega Genesis controllers, which I'll probably talk about in a little bit over here. Like that can I don't I haven't played with my Super Nintendo in a while, but like every now and again when I'm doing go through my storage and stuff like that, go through all my controllers, I can tell just how like gentle my Super Nintendo controller is. Like you said, it's very light. It's durable for some reason. I just feel like I'm gonna break it every time I'm moving it around, but I just put it underneath all my other controllers and it's just fine.
Yep.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, and can we talk about the actual look of the Super Nintendo controller really quick? Like I know growing up, I mean, okay, maybe it was different for you, but for me growing up here in the States, um, the button layout, it's just like purple and gray buttons, everything, which is cool. I've always liked that. I've never had a problem with it. And then when you finally grow up, I found out about the Super Famicom controller, which is basically the Japanese Super Nintendo, and it's
Yep.
actually different colors, not just dark and gray, purple, whatever. It's actually different colors. It's just more aesthetically pleasing.
Well, the thing I felt like, especially with like the Famicom and the Super Famicom, which, by the way, when I do finally go to Japan to visit there, it's going to be like the number one thing I'm going to buy is a Super Famicom. Um, they like they were a lot more colorful when they made their systems. I felt like
Yes.
versus American made systems like the Super Nintendo and the Nintendo. Nintendo was a bit, it was a bit creative looking, but I think the Super Famicom was just like, they had it looked like a, from ages 5 to 10, like a
Yes.
kid's system, like something you would get for your kid. Like
Absolutely.
it definitely had that, instead of it like nowadays where it's more like sleek and black and you got these, metallic whites and all this crazy glossy colors for their systems now. Back then it was like, yeah, we know this is for kids. Here, we're going to give this, and it's going to look like
Yeah.
a kid system.
And you know why it's different in Japan and then than the US? I
Well,
actually was actually watching a documentary a couple weeks ago on Netflix. I'm not sure if you've heard of. I think it's High Score. Basically, it's
I think, yeah.
they cover a bunch of like video game topics. One of them was actually about Nintendo way back in the day. Super Nintendo. I think they were actually covering the NES at the time when it was releasing. They were talking to one of the people in charge of marketing. They were actually interviewing her, and she was actually talking about like, okay, yeah, they're thinking about bringing over the Super Famicom, but bring it to the U.S. Like they were like talking about how we can't release it looking like this, whatever. We need it like look darker. We want more people, like teenagers here are gonna like the darker look, not so much colorful. Like have you ever seen the regular Famicom? It's super tiny. They're like, no,
Hmm.
we gotta make it bigger, gotta make it like a huge box pretty much and everything. So it was just really interesting to hear from that perspective.
I mean, honestly, I will say that, I don't know. It's a tough one because I think they both look good in different ways. But I mean, we're kind of getting off topic about the
That's fine.
controllers. But like the thing is like I've always thought the game cartridge looked a lot better for the
We're
Japanese
going way off
versions than
topic, but yeah.
yeah. But like, yeah, I know we're getting way off topic. But like I said, I agree. It just kind of goes back into like the color schemes. Like
Yeah.
there was just always brighter colors back
Yeah, I'm
then.
gonna
But
bring it up right now, but you said you grew up with like this actual
yes, I
controller,
had
right?
that one.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And like I grew up with the gray and purple ones, and I actually really, really, really like the looks of this. Even if I was a
I mean,
kid,
I
I
had
probably
both of
liked it
them.
too.
I had both of them. But growing up with an older brother, that was first player's one.
Nice. But I guarantee you, if you probably asked like the 13-year-old you man, I would probably have been like, nah, give me the gray and purple. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie, every time I see these I always want like M&Ms. Dude, I'm telling you, they look like
I
M&Ms.
see what you mean. Yeah.
Oh man. All right. While we're like in 16-bit mode over here, can we talk a little bit about the Sega Genesis controller a little bit? Because
Sure. I
like
grew up with that.
I grew up more of a Super Nintendo boy, but dude, every time I pull that Sega Genesis controller, that feels so much better to me than the Super Nintendo controller. To me.
It's been
I
so long. It's been so long since I've held it. I mean, I've never had an issue with it. Like, I never was like that one. Like, if this is might sound a bit corny to say, but that one, the Sega Genesis, felt like a gamepad. If
I,
that makes sense,
I
like it
guess.
felt like a gamepad. Like to me, like holding it felt like I don't know. It was weird. Like I never was like a big fan of the button layout even back then, but I only played Sonic really, and you only need one button for Sonic.
You need two buttons. You need
Oh,
one for
you need the
jumping, and you want to
D-pad.
hold it down and press B to like
You
start
need a
dash.
D-pad and you need one button. No, one button did everything.
Did it really?
That
I
was
don't
the
remember.
glory of Sonic. But that's going into another thing. But the point I'm trying to make is they even knew their freaking controller was trash because they knew that all they needed to do was just give us one button and a D-pad, and that was all you needed. You could literally play Sonic with an old Atari stick and a freaking button on it, and that would have been fine.
Oh man. Oh, so just a little thing. When I was growing up and playing Sega Genesis, like I'm so used to like the 3-button layout. It's fine. Like your thumb rests really easy among all the buttons. I really liked it. But I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure you know about like when they kind of came out with, like, I forgot exactly what the model was. I think it's just a 6-button layout. But basically, like, they had to issue new controllers. They came out with new controllers on the Genesis. So instead of going with 3 face buttons, they went with 6. And the biggest reason was because of Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. Because like you're playing like it's a 6-button fighter. You play in arcades. It's always a 6-button fighter. You had no problems when it was ported over to the Super Nintendo because you had 6 buttons. You just use the shoulder buttons. Genesis doesn't have that. So obviously they came out with the 6-button layout for the Genesis controllers to play those fighting games. But you want to know how, like, those old controllers, that 3-button Genesis controller, you can still play Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat.
Oh, I had it on the Sega Genesis,
Yes.
unfortunately.
I'm not sure exactly the layout for Mortal Kombat, but do you know how you swapped between like kicks and punches and stuff like that in Street Fighter on the Genesis?
Oh.
You press the start button to swap the buttons. So you're like punch mode, and then if you want to do kicks, you press start and it's all kicks.
Jeez. Oh, that's so terrible.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, those games. I just feel like back in those days, at least I'll admit I was never a fighting game guy. I played Mortal Kombat for the Super Nintendo mostly.
Yeah.
I played the first one, and then the one with no blood. That was a cool thing about Sega, though. I think it was like Sega had the one where it was like you could put blood in it.
Abacab. I saw that code.
Yep, and but I was the cool kid who played it on PC, so I didn't even have to worry about any of that.
Nice. I actually had Street Fighter on PC.
Yeah, so I had like a joystick and 6 buttons to play Mortal
dang,
Kombat.
Dude, you were a pro gamer way back in the day. I played with my keyboard and didn't know how to do any inputs.
I knew how to do Sub-Zero's Fatality, and I felt so cool, and that's the only reason why I made them.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's see. Let me see if I can bring something up really quick. I think there's something I wanted to talk about. Let's see. So just in general, while we're still on the topic of like old school game consoles, I just want to say that the original NES controller is god awful. As much as I love playing on it, it's so awful.
I have to disagree. I
Dude,
think for the
it's uncomfortable.
sake
But it's so uncomfortable to hold. I don't want to play a game for like 2 hours on that thing. I could, but I don't want to.
But that was the glory of gaming back then. Like games weren't that long.
That's true.
So
maybe
I
can play an RPG.
It's been a hot minute since I've played with a NES or an NES controller, and I don't know, man. It's been a while.
Oh man, next time we go out to our video game bar, I'm gonna make you hold that NES controller. You'll be like, "Yeah, you're kind of right."
I did play it. Actually, never mind. Maybe I have played. Actually, I have used it. You just reminded me. I played Super Mario Bros. 3 on it recently.
Nice. Let's see. All right. Do we kind of want to move up to like the next generation? Because I know you kind of want to go in on the Nintendo 64 controller.
I mean,
So I love the
I will be
Nintendo
the
64
first one to
controller.
tell you.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. No, no, let's shed some light on this. You go ahead and talk about the positives and all the things, and I'll get on with the others bit.
Okay, so I'll bring it up so we can actually see over here. But like, I'm telling you, it's like super comfortable to hold. I like it. It fits right in our hands as long as you're not trying to hold all three prongs. I'm already sounding bad at this selling it, but I don't know. It just felt very comfortable. As long as you're not playing an N64 controller nowadays that's not in mint condition, because we know that
Okay,
analog stick is so trash. I'm not even selling this well.
okay. Tell me this. I've heard rumors about this, but was the idea at first when this thing came out was like, oh, this is for the people that want to hold the D-pad, so you have it comfortable like this. This is for the people who want to use the stick. Like, what was the point for this? Like, what was it? Was that it?
Honestly,
For those who wanted to use a D-pad and for those who wanted to use a joystick?
I guarantee you they couldn't figure out how to have you play the D-pad and the analog stick in one hand, like in one hand. Like I really feel like they didn't know, like how nowadays, like you have like the D-pad next to the analog stick. I'm not sure they just couldn't figure it out. That's my theory.
Oh boy, it's just
Oh, question. Um, it's not necessarily an issue with most gamers. However, if I ever like game with people who don't really play video games that much, and we play an N64 controller, I'm not sure if you've ever seen this happen. People hold its right hand with like the button layout, left hand on the D-pad, but then when they want to use the analog stick, they don't move their hand, they just move their thumb over to use the analog stick.
I mean, have you seen how people do I mean, we got
The
the
claw
crab
grips.
style with the claw grips, yeah.
No,
Um,
but this is like from someone who doesn't play games ever, and I see it a
oh,
lot, more often than not.
so the first thing I will say, and you didn't even say it,
Go
that
ahead.
I will say about the the N64 controller is the one cool thing I always thought was awesome is nobody had the same N64 color scheme.
That's true.
Everyone had either like a see-through blue one or a see-through purple one or the OG gray one or the black one or the purple one. And it was just like, that was one thing I would say. They went in. They were like, if there was a color or a style of an N64 controller, they had it. Like, everybody always got like some unique one, and it's probably because they made the N64s like there was like what, like 8 or 10 of them that you could get, different kinds. And
Yeah.
I'm sure it's just because that's the one that came with it. But that was always one thing I've always thought was very cool about the N64 was the color schemes that they would use to like make the controllers. I really feel like they brought that kind of idea in to go out there with those crazy controllers. And then of course there was the off-brand Mad Cats and all that, which I feel like this is the perfect time to talk about Mad Catz controllers
Oh my
because
god,
I feel like
yes.
it goes the best with the N64 controller.
Oh yeah.
Like,
It's because it's like if you couldn't secure one of those, like if your parents couldn't afford one of those cool like the Nintendo different colored ones, like the orange, green, purple, whatever you call it, they're like, no, let's get this one for like $15.
yep.
Oh my gosh, let me see if I actually. Oh, let's see. I have one called the Super Pad. It's not necessarily. It's not necessarily a Mad Pat's controller in general, but if I could just show this to you, I'm pretty sure you know exactly what this is. Like, I know you've seen these controllers like around, like a friend's house or something. Because these were the ones that my friends
I
had back
have
in the
seen
day.
this one.
These
I
were
have
the
seen this one.
these were the second player, third player controllers right here, and they're
I
just
want to say I've played with that before. It looks ugly as all hell.
it
Like, can
absolutely
we
is.
just talk about how ugly that looks?
It's so awful. And then these were third party controllers back in the day growing up, man. They were just so bad. For some reason, they never went like small and like easy to hold. They always went like freaking huge and awkward to hold. Oh man. I know I've had a lot of memories with this, and like I remember like before back in the day, whenever I used to go to a friend's house, I was never allowed to bring over like my controllers or anything. I was always supposed to leave it at home because my parents were like, "Oh,
Why?
because I'm gonna lose it or break it or something."
Oh,
And the funny thing is, all my friends live on the same block, and like, I couldn't bring it over.
oh, the simpler times. But let's talk about, because this kind of goes in with controllers.
Okay.
I mean, the big thing though that we got to tip our hats to N64 on is they brought the 4-player gaming style to consoles and all that, and that was like a huge thing. So,
Oh yeah.
and I mean that's why I think we also have so much history with just how the controllers for the N64, though shitty, still are amazing because we have all those memories of that because of that. Because
like implementing
like
multiplayer.
out of all of the consoles that I've played, the most off-brand controllers I ever played with was with an N64 because that brought that living room kind of style gaming, that like home gaming to life, and it brought that like family gaming and the party game stuff because that's what you played that's what you played Mario Kart with, that's what you played Mario Party with, you played it with all those
Question: Are we talking about? Okay, so we're not talking about the fact that the N64 like normalized like 4-player multiplayer. We're talking about like how these controllers were like cheap as hell, $10-15, and then allowed us to all play together.
But that's the thing. I'm sitting here. Honestly, it's dawning on me right now. Like, the thing I'm trying to say is, though, yes, I will sit here and I will tell you that, yes, that controller sucks. It was cheap and it always broke. I can't remember one person who's like, oh, yeah, all of my N64 controllers work properly. No, they don't. You got drift. You got drift on the analog stick. The buttons don't work right. The little yellow buttons got, like, Cheetos in them
Cheetos.
And but
Doritos.
the point I'm trying to make is that everybody knows all of the off-brand Mad Cats, all the crazy ones like one you just showed. You know those because N64 brought needing more than one controller to life.
That's true.
Like,
that's
back
true.
then you needed only 2, and now you have 4. And it's like, well, your mom's not going to go buy all the badass top-end N64 controllers. No, you're going to get those off-brand ones.
Yeah, you're right. Like, no one's ever talking about, like, off-brand... Like, when we talk about off-brand controllers back in the day, no one's talking about, like, an off-brand PlayStation controller, no off-brand Dreamcast controller. Like, it always comes back to N64.
The only other one I have a lot of off-brand ones I used to play with was the GameCube, but we can get into that later. Because I do have things to talk about with the GameCube controller.
Oh, man. Let's see. Oh, Baller, while I just brought up Dreamcast, can I just kind of talk about that really quick?
As long as we go into PlayStation 1 too, because I have more memories with that than anything.
Oh, that's fine. Let me just pull up a controller. Like I'll be first to say I love the Dreamcast controller. It's fantastic. There's like it did a lot of cool stuff back in the day and everything too. Yada yada yada. However,
I didn't hate it.
No, I didn't hate it at all. Not that I own a Dreamcast, but I had a couple of friends that did own a Dreamcast. If I can pull this up really quick, if it ever loads. Like it's a fine controller and everything. It did what the N64 was supposed to do. It was supposed to move the analog stick next to the D-pad so you can play.
I agree.
So you can actually use both of those together over here. However, like I can talk so many things about the Dreamcast, but one thing that just always comes to mind over here. Do you see where that wire is?
Oh yeah,
you see where that wire is. Okay.
Yeah.
And now I gotta show you, like, it's just so awful, like, I don't know, because you're thinking about the wire should be towards the top, so it leads out to the controller, so you're not getting tangled and whatnot. Yep. And there was actually a way to actually put the wire on the top. Oh, shit.
There was a mod thing. Yeah.
No, it's not a mod, but like there's an actual clip on the actual back of the controller because they knew, hey, we fucked up. You gotta put the wire in this clip so it goes towards the TV and you don't pull anything.
Honestly, even though that was a thing, I never played with that, and I was ever like, oh god, this is so bad. I can't appreciate this because I never thought about it. I never was like, oh, my my wire's in the way.
No.
But I will say this: everybody had Duck Hunt back in the day for NES and had the gun.
Yes.
The first gun I ever owned for a controller was on the Dreamcast for the House of the Dead 2. And to this day I still remember playing with my friend back up at my mom's house, and he broke it on me.
Dude, no.
And what it was the way you reloaded in that game is usually you could shoot outside the screen,
Yeah.
but they had this thing where they had like a trigger that was right above the trigger. So it was like you were shooting, and then it was like you would like shoot, and then you would like click it, like you like extend your finger, and you could like reload your weapon. And I mean, I felt like it was easier to shoot with the controller, to be honest, but it was obviously more fun to shoot with the gun. But
You
yeah,
kind of
he
need
like
to
was
show
trying.
this to me. I kind
He
of
was
want to see
trying
this.
to.
Go ahead. You don't have to look it up. You don't have to look it up. I'll look it up. People just
Okay.
just say the name of the controller and people can Google it. It's fine.
Yeah. Sorry, he's the ringleader on all this stuff. But anyways, like yeah, it was just like he was getting all like trying to act like he was ducking behind cover, and like the wire is what he like was going crazy with it, and just like trying to go behind my bed and duck under cover and all this stuff, and he broke it. And I was just like, dude, you just gotta stand in front of the screen and shoot it. It's just like, oh man, oh gosh. But yeah, so it was experience, but yeah, I agree with you. I think the Dreamcast overall, it wasn't bad. Yeah, the Wired, looking back at it, was kind of dumb, but other than that, I thought it was okay.
Okay. Hold on. We gotta go back to N64 really quick. There was like a couple of notes I had over here that I just kind of want to talk about. So a little different over here. How many games can you name where you actually played left hand on the D-pad, right, your right hand on the buttons? Like, how many games?
You're talking to the wrong person, dude. I didn't play N64 that much.
There's not that many games that play like that. I'm sure like every N64 game you played, you usually have your left hand on the analog stick over here. There was like a couple games that did that, like Kirby 64, which I had growing up. I remember the first time I played it, I got it kind of late in the N64 life cycle, and it's kind of weird to me. I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm playing with the D-pad. That's fine. Pokemon Puzzle League, Dr. Mario 64, I think I wrote down. You want to hear something kind of weird? I'm not sure if you can wrap your head around this. Can you think of playing a game with your left hand on the D-pad and your right hand on the analog stick? Okay, there's only
one. So unorthodox.
Yes, there's one game that's really famous for this. It was never released here in the US. It's called Sin and Punishment, and it was kind of innovative in that aspect of using those controls, because it's like kind of like it's not really a first-person shooter. However, it's kind of like a rail shooter, and you have a reticle on screen. You have a character that moves around though, so you use the left D-pad to kind of move your character around, and then you use the analog stick to kind of move the crosshair around. And, yeah, and it's pretty cool. I only played it on emulator. There was actually it's funny. They actually came out with a new game on the Wii that I still haven't opened up that I really want to play. But I just think that's really interesting, because I always tell people that I'm like, hey, can you imagine playing a game on the 64 like this? They're like, what the hell? But I think this is one way to kind of get around, like, how most modern FPSs are, shooters nowadays. You kind of move the camera or reticle around with your right stick. And I think that's one of the games that kind of was kind of like ahead of its time. And I don't know, it's pretty cool. I definitely want to go around and play this game just so I can actually play the N64 like that. And I just have one other stupid note on here. I wrote down on my notes. It literally says 100%. This has nothing to do with any type of new controller or anything like that. I just remember back in the day, I'm sure you're kind of familiar with speedruns with Ocarina of Time for Zelda and everything. Back in the day, I just remember this one streamer. This was really famous back in the day of Twitch TV. Basically, he was like setting up donation goals, and then at one point he was like, okay, people donate this much money to me, and I'm gonna play Ocarina of Time with my controller drowned in honey. It was really stupid. I don't know why I wrote that on my notes, but I figure I do.
Okay. Well, I mean, if there's one game I feel like is up there with Mario 64 for speedrunning, it's definitely Ocarina of Time. So
Oh
I'm not
yeah.
shocked. But I mean, yeah, it's the N64. I can't deny its iconicness with the controller. I feel like it's infamous and also epic, I guess too, to
Yeah.
people. I mean, I don't know. It's I'm on the negative side, but I also can respect it.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's move on to more controllers. I'm sure you can say that for
We
another
got to talk about
podcast.
PS1. We
Let's
got to
go ahead.
talk about PS1.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you have a PS1?
Yes, I did. It
All
was one
right.
of my
Did
favorite
you have the
consoles
big
growing up.
fat brick one, or did you eventually get the slim one?
No, no, no. I had the big fat one. And it's weird to say fat one because I don't think of it fat at all.
Yeah, yeah, but compared to the PlayStation 1, like the PS1 Slim or
Yes.
whatever it was, it's like that one was so, oh man, I love that one. But that's again getting off topic.
Yes.
But so yeah, the PS1 controller. So, this is a thing where it's like I always looked at the PS1 controller as like the controller to me as a kid growing up. When did you use the analog sticks? When were there games that you could play that used the analog sticks? I always felt like every game I ever played, I only could use the D-pad.
Yes. So I don't know. There wasn't too many games growing up where like I used the analog stick. I think the first time I did was with Final Fantasy VII, not Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII. Sorry, I'm talking about the good one.
Oh yeah.
No, that's the first time I remember it. But it didn't really like change anything for me. I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. We're like, oh my god, I can move in this specific like diagonal, like whatever. But I think analog sticks weren't too big for me back then. However, nowadays I play Metal Gear Solid 1 kind of regularly, and it's so difficult to play with that D-pad compared to that analog stick.
Really? Okay.
Yes, to me.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. I never played I played yeah, see
Yeah, I'm
that
bringing up the OG one without the analog stick.
oh yeah. But yeah, they that was I actually had that one and I
Same.
had one with the analog stick. But yeah, like playing I think Tomb Raider was like see, no. Like I'm trying to think like I never got to play Resident Evil or like that game because I never grew up with the tanky controller games.
Yeah.
So I can't say like, oh, was using a D-pad better than using the analog stick for those games, like Tomb Raider. And I never played Tomb Raider. I never played those games. I mostly played JRPGs, and I played Twisted Metal, and I used the D-pad for Twisted Metal. And but like, yeah, the Xbox. I mean, but this controller though, overall, I give it a positive because I think to this day, if we're talking specifically D-pads, I think Sony has my heart the most. I think Sony does the D-pad the best.
I was gonna say, like, I don't know. It's like, oh, if it's not broke, why fix it?
Yeah. And I like the individual forward buttons. Like, even when I play fighting games and I play a fighting game on control, I'd rather play it for PlayStation over playing it for I don't use the quarter like when I like play like Street Fighter and all that, like I use the D-pad, believe it or not. I know it's crazy. I know. But I'm also not good at those games. So take that with a grain of salt. But like playing like, especially like NetherRealms games like Injustice or anything like that, I'm always using the D-pad instead to put in the inputs.
I feel the same way too. Like, whenever I'm playing fighting games, I much rather play with the actual D-pad itself. But
Yeah.
sometimes I see myself switching between that and the analog stick. But I think D-pad just feels easier to put inputs in, at least for me.
Mhm.
Maybe because I grew up that way. When I see like actual pros who actually use gamepads, they actually use the analog stick. So who am I to know?
Yeah, I know. We're scrubs.
Hey, quick question though. Did you know that these buttons on the Sony controller actually have meaning? Like, there's a purpose of why they're that certain shapes, like why it's a square, why it's an X, circle, and triangle.
What is that?
So, circle. I know, like, if you ever played certain like Japanese games and everything back in the day, like
Yep.
older games, circle was always to confirm an action, as opposed to pressing X. Like growing up here in the U.S., most games that were developed here, you always press X to confirm something, to select something on the screen, and circle was to like go backwards. it's the opposite in Japan because in their culture, a circle means like correct, confirm, and X means
Hmm.
like bad, cancel. So that's
Yeah, I remember that.
yep. So
I
back
always
in
had
the
to play all my JRPGs with that.
exactly, and I was so confused growing up. I was like, why was it like this? Why is it like this? This game sucks because like the X doesn't mean confirmed. Let's see. Also the square that was meant to look like a piece of paper, like represent a piece of paper to go through the menus, to break up the menu and bring up documents or whatever. I don't know that many games that actually did that, but that's what they were trying to go for, and I think if I remember correctly, the triangle was supposed to like represent a head, so it's supposed to represent like a viewpoint. I think it had something to do with the
Oh, okay.
camera or something. Because I know certain games, if you press triangle, like mainly like racing games, sometimes like it would kind of change the camera and stuff.
Oh, okay. I got you.
I know it
Huh.
was with certain games, not everything, but that's what they were kind of going for when they were doing that layout.
All right.
Yeah. Also, can I just say, like, old 10-year-old Evan was really stupid growing up because I would see, like, these PlayStation controllers before I got the analog stick ones. Like, I would see it in the stores, and I'm like, what is that? Are those controllers with speakers on them? I just see in the packaging, and I'm like, whoa, speakers.
Let me ask you this, because I'm trying to remember, and I can't remember how I ever viewed it. What did you think about the trigger controllers when you saw this on the PS1?
I
Like,
was
what
like,
were your mindset?
my mind was blown. I was
I
like,
always felt
dude,
like they were useless. I was always like, what are they here for?
I mean, I never really given it that much thought. I don't
For the
remember that many
PS1
games I played it with.
specifically. PS2, there's a different story. We'll get into that, but
Yeah, I guess there's not that many like I guess making that leap to 3D and like just going to a controller with all these buttons. I guess they wasn't that many games that tried to implement it too much. I guess I don't know, but I don't know. I can't think of anything negative, but I can't think of anything positive about these trigger buttons back in the day.
I remember using L1 and R1, but I never remember really using L2 and R2.
No, have you ever felt those buttons like recently on the old PS1 controller? I'm not sure it was the same with the
Oh yeah, I
PS2.
got my PS1 and my uh whatchamacallit
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, like I'm so used to like pressing down triggers on the R2 and like the
Yeah.
L2 and everything, but back then it was just like a little tiny button.
Yep.
Like you just click it in. That's all it is. It's really tiny. There's no trigger. It's a button. It's a shoulder
I
button.
mean, I'll admit, I think the DualShock 4 was something I had to get used to as far as the L2 and the R2 and how it went down
Yes, I thought I was
versus
going to
it being
break it.
buttons back in the day. Yeah.
Oh man.
But I
Oh,
mean, when shooters became more popular, L2 and R2 just became such it's like a staple. Like you have to have those for shooters.
oh yes. Let's see. Can I just say that as comfortable as the PS4 controller is, I love it. However, I just can't. I really just want to find some type of third party controller where it has like the offset sticks because I much
Yeah,
rather
it's called
prefer
the Astromech. It's the Astromech 2.9 controller. That
really.
was what they said. Yeah, it was a off-brand one that came out like in 2019, I think it was, for PS4, and you could literally switch out the left stick to where the D-pad was and the D-pad down there. You could like totally customize it to like be exactly what you wanted. It was for PS4, and everybody's like wanting it for PS5.
Yeah, that's what I want to look for. Like when I'm actually thinking about getting a PS5, I actually kind of want to look into that because if I'm gonna play a long term, I just really want to get a stick like that. I really want to get an offset stick. It's just more comfortable for me.
I mean, I never had a problem playing with PS5, like going from PlayStation controller to Xbox controller. I guess a little bit, but I never like I always got comfortable. Like they both, that's the glory of those. They always felt great. But anyways, I
Oh,
feel like we
really?
need to start talk. Oh, go ahed.
Oh, I was gonna say next time, like we're actually hanging out in person, we need to like compare thumbs because I feel like I have a little midget snub of thumb, and I think that's the reason why I that's why I don't like the sticks like with the PlayStation where I have to put my thumb all the way there. I think that's the main reason. That's just me.
There you go.
All right, but Matt, you were gonna say something.
Let's go into some trash.
Some
Let's let's,
trash.
let's bring some hot garbage out.
All right, that's fine with me. Let's see. Let me see what I can bring up. I'll start off kind of simple. I kind of wanted to talk about this. Give me 2 seconds to kind of bring this up. Um, I actually want to talk about earlier about the 3DS. And the reason I want to bring it up is because I just hate these little nub of the analog circles or whatever. I hate those analog nubs so much. I don't know. For some reason, it's just not comfortable to me. You have a 3DS, don't you?
I've had a lot of them, but I don't have any more.
Yeah, I have 5 of them. But like, whenever like I'm playing an action game, like I'll play a lot of platformers. To me, it's just not comfortable. Like I don't know, it's not as comfortable as the analog stick, and I don't think anyone will disagree with me. And the thing is, since these were backwards compatible, with some certain games, at least with the with the 3DSs that came out, they were compatible with. I don't remember. Anyways, there was a lot of platformers I played where I wanted to play with the D-pad. They were compatible with the original DS. Yeah, that's what it is. So the original DS didn't have that analog pad, so I mainly play with the D-pad. And nowadays, when I want to play those old platformers, I have to shift my thumb down, and it's the most uncomfortable thing. Oh my god.
I mean, I'll be fair. I'm that guy. I'll be that guy, and I'll stand by it.
Just really quick.
That's the Pokemon. Oh my god!
It's the Pokemon
I've seen that. It's the Pokemon console.
Yeah, I just want to bring it up right here too. I kind of want to show it off. There was this accessory. I remember
that.
Like, when they announced it. It's only a couple. Well, actually, a good amount of games like use this. I remember one of my friends got it because it was mainly used for Monster Hunter, and he definitely wanted. He definitely wanted to get that. Let's see. We want to talk about trash. Let's see. So let me kind of pull up one that I really want to talk about. I'm not. Oh shoot! Let me just show you these two, and then we'll kind of talk about some of the ones you had in mind over here. So, have you ever heard of the ColecoVision?
That name sounds familiar.
It's a very, very, very old console, like around when the original Atari came out. And this is one of its competitors, and this is its controller. it's got a like a button. Yeah, it's got a button layout like a telephone. It's got like buttons on the side, and there's like a little tiny stick that's really difficult to move. Everyone says like it barely even nudges. And I heard this controller is so awful, so difficult to hold. Like with Atari, at least it was simple. You had one joystick and one button. Where are you gonna sit your thumb at? Like where are you gonna put it?
I don't even know where to begin with that. That is ridiculous.
And for like games like super simplistic back in the day around Atari, do you really need all those buttons?
Oh my gosh, Jesus.
And you know what's hilarious about this console, about the ColecoVision, is that you can unplug this controller. The ports are the same as the Atari 2600 controller. You can plug that in and play pretty much every game on that. And even funnier than that, you can actually plug in a second Genesis controller into it too, and it still works.
What the heck?
Yep. So I'm gonna talk.
Go ahead. It's so ugly.
You want to see?
It looks like something like a doctor would need.
It's a phone. That's what it is. It's even got a cord like a phone, like back in the day.
Oh.
Hey, question. You want to see something even worse than that?
I'm scared.
So, this is the Intellivision. Came out around the same time. That down there is not like a stick and an analog thing. It's a disc. You can spin it around and you can actually press it down as another button. There's another keypad layout. More buttons on the side. And the thing is, this little disc wasn't usually made for like moving around. There's a lot of games that came out with these little cards. I'm not sure if you can really tell, but you can actually put a card in over the button layout. You can slide it in, and it tells you what buttons did stuff. And most of the time, you would have to hit like 4 to move left, 6 to move right, and whatnot. And it just looked like a mess.
Oh my gosh, it's just ridiculous. That's
oh my gosh. Matt, was there any trash controllers you wanted to talk about really quick? I'm not sure if you had anything in mind. Okay, guys, we just had a technical issue. I'm not sure exactly where we were left off. Matt's the master editor, so he's going to take care of this. But I'm not sure exactly where we were left off. But we just wanted to bring up this gorgeous piece of controller equipment that was bundled with some type of Resident Evil 4 package, maybe. I don't know. Maybe you can get more into it, Matt.
Oh. Well, I mean, I never owned it, but I always remembered seeing it. I remember back in the day when I would go to GameStop and I would always see the controller, and it's like, gosh, man, I gotta look at this. Let's look at
anyone listening.
Let's look at one thing. Which one's the C stick? Which one do you think is the C stick?
I don't know. I would probably have to say it's the one on the rightmost side towards the face buttons, but I could be wrong.
So this is the P. Oh no! This isn't a GameCube one. This is a PS2 one.
Yeah. Okay.
Isn't there a GameCube one?
I think
it was yellow.
Oh, let me see. Maybe you sent me a different controller. Oh, and let me bring this one up. Here we go. Yeah, let's link this one up. This is the one I have.
Here we go. This is the one. This is the one I remember. Because I played mine first on GameCube. Like, oh God, like, oh my God, like, what is that? Like Z? Is that Z right there on the handle?
I'm trying to see. Z. I can't even tell, to be honest. I see the C stick right there. Why is this controller different than the PS2 one I just brought up?
I don't know how you're supposed to hold it. Like, am I supposed to hold it out front? Like, and I'm supposed to, you're probably supposed to hold the handle, and then, dude, with the game, you need so much control with your finger. How are you supposed to play with that?
I don't know, to be honest.
Oh my gosh.
I guarantee you there's some video out there of someone speedrunning Resident Evil 4 with this controller. I guarantee it.
I feel like I need to watch it. Because this is just mind-boggling. Like, who made this and was like, yes, this is gonna sell?
Dude, if they came out with a controller like this nowadays, I can guarantee it would sell instantly.
This thing looks amazing. I mean, I would love to have this. This would be like if I would not have to spend like a freaking crap ton of money, because I'm sure if I looked up how much this costs,
I'm going to right now.
Oh my gosh.
Let me look this up.
Honestly, I'll tell you this. If anyone, if it's a decent price, if I can find a decent price, I will buy this controller. Well, I don't have. Or you have a GameCube still, don't you? I think James does too.
I do. Oh my God!
I don't know if I have Resident Evil 4 though anymore.
I'm trying to find like a used one, but I see one that's in box. It's $750 on eBay.
God damn it, man! I would love to just try and play Resident Evil 4 with this controller.
I would like to play any game with this controller.
Like, I love Resident Evil 4. It's not. It's no like. Oh my gosh! I don't even know. Could
you imagine? Like, we were talking about, like, like off-brand controllers, like second player, third player controllers. Yo, what if like you're like at a friend's house and you're like, I'm playing with a regular GameCube controller. You're gonna have this one, and you're just playing with a chainsaw. You're playing like Mario Party with it.
Oh, dude, how would you play Melee with this? I would just literally flip it that way, and I would only use C stick. I would use X to jump, and I would just use C stick.
Oh my God, I'm so looking up a video of people using this controller to play with after this we're done.
Yeah. I mean, it looks so badass. Like, this is fucking metal. Like, this is metal as F.
Oh my God, I swear to God, someone needs to come out and like just an obscene controller like this at some point. I don't know what it is. I don't know what game is gonna do something obscene, but we need a modern day version of this. I don't care if it's a chainsaw or something else. I don't even know. Oh my God.
I mean, it doesn't even look like, that somebody took the time to make this.
Yep.
Like, there's more aesthetic to the controllers. Like, like the face buttons look a little cheap looking from what I can see.
This isn't a first party controller. It's like some company named Newbie.
Oh man. Anyways.
All right. Are you ready for some more trash?
Yes.
All right. So, I know we were talking about the Philips CDI, and you showed me one controller, and I totally forgot about this over here. But Just how uncomfortable does this look? we would...
This is a controller I could talk about because I had this.
Oh,
I had this controller.
oh my god, tell me about it, please.
Mine was white and it had red and I think it was red and some other color, but the joystick was purple. And I used to play back when everybody was cool and was playing Doom with only keyboard. I was that badass using this to play Doom.
With a straw on your
And I kid
D-pad.
you not, how I used to play when I first played Doom was I would use this to shoot, control, and all that. I would go to my keyboard, press 1, 2, 3, or whatever button or whatever number to switch to my gun, and I would go back. And I could actually like turn my guy and all that stuff. And this is the controller but the first time I ever played Doom, back when I was like 6, this is what I played with because I played with the Super Nintendo control. I never played with keyboard. And so that was the first way I ever played Doom was with this controller.
Oh my gosh.
And it was trash.
I just can't imagine.
But
I think you told me about something about moving like your thumb around the stick. Like you didn't put your
No. I used my like left and right and down, but like I would push up on the joystick part.
Okay. That still
forward.
sounds god awful, but one of these days you're not gonna be around. I'm just gonna be like, you're gonna be in the bathroom when I'm at your house. I'm gonna just put like I'm gonna just glue a giant stick in the middle of your D-pad on one of your controllers and make you play with it. Okay, so I'm pretty sure the Philips CDI never had Doom on its actual console, but could you imagine playing Doom on this Philips CDI controller?
All right, let me look at this. I'm trying to find the good and the bad. This looks like a DVD remote.
It pretty much is, because like Philips CDI, it played movies, it played CDs and everything too. It was all about media and everything. So I guess this is one of the things that they kind of used. They wanted to be like a remote control, but I don't see. I'm pretty sure these people have never played a video game before. Oh my god! And this is one of the. I think this is one of the boxed-in remotes controls that came with the CDI. And could you imagine playing like any one of those terrible like licensed Mario games or Zelda games, those platformers or something like that?
Oh my gosh, man! It's just like how. And
I'm,
I don't know. I'm trying to think back in that era. I was like, what buttons did I need that I needed to like I mean, what era did this happen in? Like, when was this made? This has to be made during
right
like
before
PS2-ish
PlayStation 1.
era.
Yeah, before
Right before
N64,
PlayStation 1.
before N64, before PlayStation, because like Sony was actually trying to talk to Nintendo. I'm not sure if you knew about the story, but PlayStation Sony wanted to partner up to develop like a disc-based console, and I think they asked for, I don't know what happened, they fell out. So Sony went ahead and made their own console, which went on to great success, as we all know. And instead, Nintendo partnered with Philips, and you got the CDI.
Well, I think the thing was Sony wanted to bring in CDs to go to CD-ROM, and Nintendo wanted to stay with cartridge.
No, well, I don't know what the whole story was, but I just know that Philips, after a deal fell out with Sony, they partnered with Philips to create the CDI, which is a CD-based console as well. So I don't know what happened there. I'm not gonna read up on it again, but would you even be surprised if I told you there's a worse controller than this remote?
No, I'm not.
Okay, because there's a spoon. People refer to as the spoon. And I don't even know how you'd play any game like this, any type of platformer. It just looks so bad.
Was it a niche controller? Like, was it meant for a specific game?
I don't know. I think this is meant for eating soup. I don't know.
Like I'm trying to think. Like, maybe these are meant for like, because there are controllers that are just meant for a specific game. Like you even said, like the 6-button. Controller. It was meant for fighters. Like, what is this meant for?
I couldn't even tell you, to be completely honest. I never played CI games. I just know how notorious they are for these awful controllers and terrible games. Granted, there is a normal controller. There is a normal controller with like 2 or 3 buttons on there and a regular D-pad. But just the fact these other versions exist is just so awful. Oh man. Let's see. What else did I want to talk about over here? Just really quick. I thought I'd bring this up. I'm not sure if you know about the 3DO, the Panasonic 3DO. It's not a great console. Don't worry. I forgot when it even came out. But basically, I want to show you the controller here. Like, it doesn't look too bad. But
Is Sega?
no, this is Panasonic. The Panasonic 3DO.
Panasonic,
Oh, this
okay.
came out around the Genesis and Super Nintendo.
Okay.
Yeah, and it went on a marketing campaign saying how like the Super Nintendo and Genesis were baby toys, and you get the 3DO. And back in the 90s, I think the 3DO was like $700 or something.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about this.
And this, oh my god, I don't want to go too much into
this
it.
has Doom in it. I think this game was one of the Doom ports.
It does have Doom.
And it was trash.
People say it's
was
one of the
trash.
best ports of Doom. However, it doesn't have music.
Yes, you're right. Yes.
Yes. So I'm not gonna go too much into 3DO over here, but I just want to bring up the fact that I'm not sure if you can see this right here, but there's like a little port that you plug into on the 3DO. On the actual console itself, there is no way to plug in a second controller. So the way you played with friends and everything was you like plugged in a controller into the controller and you daisy chain it together. Dude,
It's like back in the day, the old Game Boy adapters to like put it to link it together.
oh my gosh. Could you imagine like nowadays, dude? I would be so evil if I was the first player. Like imagine if we were like playing some game, we're playing Mario Party or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my god, Matt's beating me. I'm just gonna unplug the controller.
You would do that. Oh jeez.
Oh my gosh. Let's see.
That's so bad.
Was there anything you had in mind? You can come in. I've just got a lot of these over here. I'm just gonna keep showing pictures. Was there anything you had in mind
keep
right
going.
now? Okay.
I mean, one thing I will say to kind of bring back, like, what about motion controls? I feel like this is a control thing we need to talk about.
Oh, absolutely. So, I'm not sure where you want to start with this.
Let's we're not going to go in all day on this.
Yes.
So let's talk about this. What do you think is the best motion control? And I'll say what mine is.
What do I think is the best motion control? Probably, oh gosh, if I was talking about things that actually worked, probably the PlayStation Move.
Okay.
Probably. I mean, go ahead.
I mean, I got to go with VR.
Oh, that's
Oculus is. These are the best motion controls.
man, you cheated. You went with an
cheating?
You went with an actual good controller over here.
Oh, I mean, these actually feel good in your hand.
Yes.
I mean, they do.
Oh yeah.
So
go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, when I play these games and I play shooters and all that, like, the response is better than anything I've ever played with like any other controller. Like when I actually play with like VR, like they got it right. Like, don't even get me started on motion controls, like stuff which I've never had, so I don't know. But like, the Valve and their like, feet and hand controls and all that stuff. But dude, if we ever talk about motion control, who's getting it right? It's VR.
That's
I mean,
true.
they're definitely getting it right.
That's not fair.
With
I'm too poor to talk about this.
The cameras is where it's at. Like, instead of dealing with one camera, it's all about, well, I mean, if you get the Valve and all that stuff, you put cameras like all in your room and it literally like scans your entire area.
Yes. Like, I mean, I played a good amount of VR. I know I talked to you about like some of the past work I used to do. I did work with some video games in general and stuff, and I did work with HTC for a while on the Vive during the VR. I did a lot of touring and demoing those games and everything, and I'm sure their controllers have changed a little bit, but those motion controls, like you talked about, as long as you have those base cameras, like motion controls worked fantastic. Like, to your credit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're good, but I mean, I feel like I got to bring up the Wii.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say, like, how we cannot talk about it.
Yeah, I mean the Wii is like the one I think when you hear motion control, I think it's the first one that what comes to mind for people is the Wii controllers, Wii Sports.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, it was pretty responsive. I
I thought
never
so.
thought. I mean,
Like it knew like if you were moving the controller and everything, it was just a little lacking on like exactly where I don't know. Compared to the Wii Motion Plus and everything, compared to all the other ones that came out, I think it was a more simplified. I forgot the actual specifics of it.
I mean,
But
well, you look at things like this. You look at the Wii and its bar, which was definitely a lot more manageable, and then you got like Xbox 360 Connect. That was
yes,
atrocious. Like to this day, like you talk about the game bar we go to where they have,
Connect.
Just Dance Connect and all that stuff, and it's like you got to be a certain height. It's like,
You got to be a certain height. I didn't know that.
well, I mean, it's like you got to like sync it and all this stuff, but like
Okay.
again, that's where I feel like, yeah, you could be go ahead and comparing apples to oranges because of just how advanced things have gotten over the years. But it's like when you play VR and like how I set up, it's like I can either do stand in one spot and it's like in a circle and that's where I'm at, and it's like it registers me, and then it's like then you could also make your own like zone of where you're allowed to walk around in
Yes.
and paint it like on the ground of how far the area is. Where it's like the big problem with the Wii and with the Xbox Connect, less the Wii than the Connect, but you had to have like so much space, and you had to be like you literally had to have it in your living room. You couldn't put it in your room.
No.
And that was like that's what I'm trying to get at. It's like, is it fair to compare the two? Because it's like, well, one, you needed a sensor bar and it's technically not VR, but it's still motion controls. But it's like it just shows that the right idea is to do cameras that can see you from different areas. It's just like with me, it's like the motion controls. It goes from the camera on the VR headset. You got, I think it's 4 cameras.
Mm-hmm.
I think on the VR headset that you can like it reads the room and it reads your like body and all that stuff. And I think that was like the right way to go. But
I mean, as long as
yeah.
you have the
Anyway,
money to afford it.
I mean it's cheaper now. It's $299 now to get an Oculus or get a Quest 2. It's
Is
not
it
that
really?
bad.
Nice. Not too
Yeah.
bad.
I don't know. I mean, I think the only thing holding VR back is the game is games.
Oh,
I mean, but
absolutely.
that's again another talk for another time.
Yes. Oh man. Motion
But
controls. I feel like it's just something I'm not into anymore. I think that was just like a product of its time, and I'm not super big on it. Like with
I
Skyward
never was
Sword
really.
HD, like re-released and everything too. Like I'm just not interested in playing with the motion controls. I'm really not. I love that game, but I'm not interested in it.
I didn't hate playing Twilight Princess on the Wii.
Neither did I.
Like I was fine. And we talking about Resident Evil 4. Here we go. To this day, if you were to ever say, Matt, what were you the best on when it came to what were you the best at playing Resident Evil 4 on? I will 100% always say the Wii.
Really?
The Wii, hands down. The accuracy, I could like snipe with the pistol. It was so accurate. Like in the honestly, I'd argue the Wii version of Resident Evil 4 is the best one.
Really?
It
Why is
was,
that?
dude, it was the
Because the
motions were
controls?
great. Yes, the controls were great. And if you even got that gun rack thing you could get where you could literally treat it like a gun,
Yeah.
dude, the stability. I never sniped with the pistol. I could snipe with the pistol. Like it was that accurate. Like my accuracy was always like a 98% to 100 at the end of chapters on the Wii. The Wii version kicked ass.
Oh
Like
man.
if I would ever play a rail shooter or anything, I'd tell you give me a Wii controller.
Really?
Yep,
Dude, I'm kind of interested in seeing this now.
100%.
I'm kind of looking up some videos now. I feel like I'm not going to find that many, but I'm kind of interested now.
It's good. It's great. Like I said, like I'll stand by that. As somebody who's played Resident Evil 4 on almost every system it's ever been put on, the Wii is top 3, top 2 even.
Really?
I still feel like I gotta give it a like slight edge to PlayStation,
Yeah.
but that's it. Maybe I don't know. I'd probably maybe even still think about Wii being number one.
Oh man. Let's see. I'm trying to think of like what games. Oh, I was gonna say like what games use motion controls on the Switch nowadays. And there's actually a good amount. Like I think of Arms, like that fighting game that no one plays, that everyone forgot about. I was gonna
Trying to
say,
remember if Pokemon Snap uses it. I think you can use it on Snap.
yeah. Like let's see. Well, one of my favorite games, Splatoon 2, Splatoon in general. It does use motion controls for aiming, and it's not like heavy on motion controls, but I think that's a good way to kind of implement it because I'm not the best at playing like first person shooters or shooters like online with like an actual controller. I'm used to playing mouse and keyboard, but I think the motion controls, like I think people kind of got to try that out with Breath of the Wild and some other games like Wind Waker HD on the Wii U. There was actually a gyroscope, and actually it felt really accurate if you just wanted to help fine tune things, kind of like a mouse. And that's one thing I actually really do like about motion controls. I talk about how much I don't like motion controls, but I actually do like that. So
I mean, here's a question: if somebody's
yes.
going to make a motion control or a game with motion control in it, should you either go all in on making a full motion control game or have the option to use motion control? I think a big example would be that Star Fox game that came out for the Wii U.
I don't want to talk about that game. You know, Star Fox is one of my favorite franchises, and I was just so hyped up for that game, and I was just so disappointed, and I just had to keep playing it. And oh my god, just the forced motion controls, and that's one thing you're talking about. When you're actually aiming, like you control the R wing. Have you ever played this game?
Nope.
Because you
Talk to
played.
me like I'm an idiot.
Oh gosh, no. So you know when you're playing Star Fox 64, use like the analog stick to move around and pretty much
Yeah.
aims like the reticle as well too. I don't like. I think that's a little outdated, but I think it would have been just fine if it came out that same way nowadays. But with the oh shit, sheesh, I don't even explain this. With in Star Fox Zero that came out for the Wii U, it's you play with the controller. You move the R wing around with the left stick, and then you kind of aim around the reticle with the motion controls, and it's just so awkward. It just doesn't. It to me, it doesn't feel right.
So let me ask you: would that game be 100% better if you could aim traditionally and had the motion control,
Like,
like both options?
like you.
Like, do you
What?
feel like games going forward, if they decide to go down the motion control routes, should they embrace the motion controls such as that, or you look at games like Resident Evil who implemented it perfectly, and you look at those games, should you go all the way in and focus on that or take some of the step back because you need to still keep those for those who are traditionalists like you who would rather keep it traditional style. I want to aim with the, D-pad or stick or anything like that.
Well, I'm not a video game designer. I'm not a developer by any means. However, I just feel like if you have a idea for a game and you really think that it would be better with motion controls, you should just go all in on that kind of aspect. I just think that's just me. But if you're having a game where it's like you could play it with a control stick or something like that, I think you should have the option. Like it's like a more traditional game. I feel like motion controls are a little more niche, and I feel like if you're kind of going towards that idea, I think you just need to go all in on that as a full motion control style game. That's just me. And if not,
I
give
think
the
you should.
option.
I mean, rail shooters are a hard one to say, but I feel like with rail shooters, you should, if you're going to do motion control, I think you should embrace that, because I feel like if there's one genre that can get away with motion controls better than others, is the is rail shooters. And like that's the thing, Star Fox is a rail shooter at heart
It
for the
is.
most part.
Absolutely is.
And I think the reason why so many people were turned off to the game was because they're so used to 64. And I don't know, do you feel like a part of it was that you just were implemented so much in your brain that you like think like it has to be that I control it with a control stick? or did you feel like it was like you just did? It was like, was it really the motion control's fault, or did you just not want to accept it?
No, it wasn't just the motion controls parts. It's more than that too. But like just simply say, if they gave me the option to just like instead of using motion controls to move the reticle, if I could just use the right stick, I think I would have been fine with that. I think there's a lot of bad things I can say about Star Fox Zero, but just the fact that with a reticle, you also had to look at the gamepad to aim. So you're looking at
what going into the gamepad, dude, sucking a hole.
You're looking at the TV to see where your R-wing's at, and then you're looking at the gamepad to aim. Like that's what it was. Like it's just a mess all around. So I feel like if they gave you the option for the reticle and everything to move your analog stick without motion controls, I think that would have been a lot better. I'm not saying motion controls is what ruined Star Fox Zero. There was a lot of bad things going on with that game. So even that would have saved the game for me. I'll say that. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Well, I think we pretty much covered all the general ideas for different kind of controllers. I know so. Obviously we're not going to be able to get to all of them.
No, but I just want to show at least one, maybe two controllers really quick that I just thought we gotta end it. We couldn't leave without me showing you some weird controller. Okay.
We gotta end it on that.
Okay. Okay, so
I'm trash.
Okay, actually, I was gonna show you this really bad one, but I'll show you a different one at the end here. So, if I can bring this up, give me 2 seconds here. All right. So I know you already took a peek at this, but this is the what the heck is this called? This is something by Intel. It's the Intel Wireless Series Gamepad. This came out for PC, and it just looks like a mess. It just looks like a lot of wasted space.
All right. This is going to be a bit risque, but I'm going to just go ahead and say it. This looks like a sex toy. I mean, this looks like
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it.
It does.
I didn't want to say it, but it absolutely does. And when I was looking at this online, a lot of people said it looked like a neck pillow you bring on the airplane.
It does. It does. It does look like a neck pillow, too.
But, dude, can you imagine, like, if you told me like this was some type of motion control for like driving or something, I would have been like, okay, I guess that's kind of acceptable. But the fact this came out like during like the early 2000s, I'm like, what? Like, why would you even want to play with this? I feel like this is something.
This looks like some stupid shit that Windows XP would have.
This is like a gift, like your uncle would give to you to try to be the cool uncle. Like, hey, I got you this like really awesome looking controller, and you just absolutely hate it. Okay. Okay, there's one more that I kind of want to show you because I've never seen this before, and I was just kind of blown away. So this is the Namco, Negcon. So it looks weird. It looks like a nice controller. It does at face value over here. However, I gotta show you. Just look how the controller is. Look at it now. It swivels. You can actually turn it.
Why?
I feel like you're trying to wrap your head around this. So
I am. I'm trying to see the logic in this because somebody had to bring this to the board and be like, "All right, so this is how it works."
So okay, so basically what this was for the PlayStation 1. I think you worked on the PlayStation 2. I'm not sure. For the PlayStation 1 at least, it was used for like mainly racing games. So you would kind of steer. I don't know, like I think you would turn it to kind of fine tune steering. So
like drift.
Like, I'm not sure exactly. I'm pretty sure it was, like, for inputs to kind of, like, steer and whatnot. So, like, for racing games, it was a little, like, you can fine-tune your steering, so you're not just pressing the D-pad and just going kind of erratically for some reason. As weird as this sounds, this got a lot of praise and a lot of good feedback when this was released. Like, especially, like, a lot of people who played racing games, everyone said this felt very intuitive. It felt very easy to use. And I guess this kind of just shows, like, I was trying to find negative reactions to it. I didn't see anything written about people, like, crapping on this at all.
Huh.
So, I know, I was shocked too. When I first saw this, I was like, wow, this instantly looks like trash. But I guess since it kind of looks this way, it just didn't get the recognition it deserved. I think that's what I kind of read about. And I guess that just kind of shows, even if something does look trash, it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad unless you try it.
I mean, this definitely looks like something Japan made.
Probably it's Namco.
Yeah, it's Namco, but I mean, it looks like a Japanese controller.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm kind of interested now because I kind of want to look up videos. Like, when we're putting this episode together, and I'm just looking at notes. I didn't have enough time to really look too much into videos and everything. It looked really interesting. Like I said, when I thought about the idea, it sounded like trash, but everyone said it was pretty good. People play racing games. I think someone said like it was used for Ace Combat as well, like like an airplane fighting game. And the funny thing is, it's not just like limited to like those certain games. Apparently, like it's like it can play any game where it didn't require the use of the R2 L2 buttons or a select button,
Mm-hmm.
and you can use it to play any game as a controller.
Huh.
So now I'm just interested in.
I am
kinda looking
interested
this
too,
now.
and we do. We need. I think we need to look at that.
Yes. So I'm just glad I actually got your reaction on this.
But I do think there's one thing that I feel like we need to talk about. I know I'm kind of going a
Go
bit
ahead.
off
Absolutely.
beat on this. Let's talk about the keyboard and mouse. We're both PC gamers. Let's talk about it. This is a great question because obviously there's certain games that you would prefer a controller with, and then you obviously would prefer keyboard and mouse. So as a keyboard and mouse as a whole, what's your perspective?
Anything that's a first-person shooter, I much rather play because you have better precision. At least just.
So you think it's only you can't? You don't think you could play like any game like? All right, what about third-person shooter?
Third-person shooter, I'd much rather play with a controller. As weird as it sounds, I'm glad you're kind of bringing this up now because I feel like I'm kind of like changing my look on sort of things. Like, I would say I have better precision. With third-person shooters, I feel like it's I don't know. I guess it is just as accurate. I don't know. I guess the controls are different because I remember playing one time. I was playing Hitman on the PC, and I was playing keyboard and mouse, and it felt really good. And I don't know, just for me, if it's like it feels like I'm walking, if I can see myself walking, I'd much rather play a controller and press a stick to move. I don't know.
I mean, I tried playing Witcher. I played Witcher on PC, and I tried playing on the keyboard and mouse, and I couldn't do it. I had to switch. But I mean, you say that, and I know you don't play them, but another big thing is like, for me, MMOs. MMOs are keyboard and mouse for me. Yes. I feel like Skyrim's keyboard and mouse for me.
Yes, I think the biggest reason why keyboard and mouse is very used for that is just due to the fact that there's a lot of menuing in that game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest reasons why. Like, if I was just in the overworld and I was just controlling my character, controller would be great, but to the fact that you have to do a lot of menuing, there's a lot of different options, it'd be pretty tedious with a controller.
But the thing is also with PC that I think takes like precedence over all of it, key binding.
That's true. Absolutely. I know some controllers can do that, but you only have so many buttons. You only have so many buttons on a controller.
So honestly, anybody that plays a keyboard and mouse any way they want, technically with enough fidgeting and enough menu working around, you can cater it to any way you want it to be.
Oh man, I kind of just thought about this. I guarantee you, there's someone out there that uses like one of those older PS3 controllers. Maybe I forgot which. Maybe it's PS4. I think they can do that too. But I just remember for the Xbox 360, they had like a little attachment where you can put a keyboard on there so you can talk on Xbox Live or something.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, someone plays like Final Fantasy 14, 15, whatever the hell it is, 14.
Oh.
With like using that with keybinds, I guarantee you someone does something like that for some type of game.
I mean, you say Final Fantasy Realm Reborn is a big example. I played that game.
Yes, that's what I thought you were talking about.
Before I had a PC, I actually plugged my PC, my keyboard and mouse to my PS4 because they allowed you to play it like that.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
But like, dude, have you ever seen the GameCube? The GameCube keyboard and mouse for Phantasy Star?
No.
They actually had a keyboard and mouse that literally took a keyboard.
I know what you're talking about.
Put it on the controller.
So like you literally can play the controller. Oh yeah,
it had an actual like keyboard that you would like type with.
I gotta bring this up right now because I've seen it so many times over here, but I just gotta bring it up on screen right now. Let's see. Oh my god. I'm gonna show you this controller really quick too. Let's see if I can bring this up. Don't be small, don't be small. Nope. Come on, pitcher. Come on. Sorry, I'm trying to computer right now. It's just so abstract. Okay, there it is. Like, it's just not the fact that it's a keyboard. It's the fact that someone still put the controller on there.
Hold on, we're having a little bit of lag right now.
Oh, we're having? Can you not see it?
Not yet.
What? You can't see it?
No, we're lagging really bad on our.
What?
On it right now.
Oh
Yeah.
no. Oh god.
I've seen it before though, and I'm sure. I mean, it's fine.
It's
but
showing
I mean,
up on the screen over here. It's for me. Let's see. Let me try it one more time. GameCube controller keyboard.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I see it now.
I see it.
That was it. That's it right there.
I kind of want to
It's
know.
so bad, but so great.
So bad.
It's so good though.
And the funny thing is, when I was looking, like, I was on Google a second ago, and I Googled this, like, there's, like, a little Photoshopped one of Switch controllers on it.
Well, one thing about the GameCube controller, too, that I hear a lot of people give praise to is the wireless one.
The Wavebird,
used
I
to
have
have.
one of those.
Yep.
I'm just really sad because my C-Stick doesn't work on it anymore. That's the reason I don't play Smash with it. Because I totally would. At least not competitively, but I absolutely love that. It was just so great. It was cool. Like, it didn't use Bluetooth. Like, it's so easy to use because it uses radio signals instead of, like, Bluetooth and other wireless stuff. So it worked really well. And I really, really, really love that controller. Even I still have it, never use it. And every time I see it, I get a little sad inside. Oh, man. All right, Matt, was there anything else you want to talk about here? Anything else you can think of at the top of your head?
I feel like we could talk for hours.
I really think so too. Like, I still have stuff on my notes, but we talked about a good amount of controllers over here. A lot of bad, a lot of good. I think one I didn't even talk about was the Sega Activator. We'll talk about it some more time. You can Google a video of it. A video probably does it more justice, but think of VR for the Genesis.
Oh boy, that is a Virtual Boy.
No, it's worse than that. It's like try and play.
Oh god.
It really is. Like, it's like a piece of plastic you put on the floor. It's a little ring. You step inside it, and you like put your arms.
I was watching a video of it right before this. Yeah, it was so bad.
So
I've seen that.
And oh my gosh! And there's even the Playdate. I kind of want to talk about. It's the new indie console that I bought.
Yeah.
$200, $200, and it has a crank on it. It's a Game Boy with a crank. See, there's so much stuff we can talk about, but I'm just glad we're able to talk about a lot of different controllers. A lot of nostalgia was in this episode, and I really, really had a lot of fun talking about all this with you, man. Oh,
I
man.
did too. That's why we need to keep bringing all this up. I feel like we could talk for hours on any kind of thing with video games.
Oh, yeah. And I love how, like, at the beginning of this, before we even start recording, you were like, oh, man, I don't know if we can get, like, an hour out of this subject. And
Right?
We're closing in on an hour and a half over here. So, but I think that's going to be great for this episode. But, I guess it's going to wrap it up here for this week's Whole Family Gaming Podcast over here. Matt, is there anything you want to plug in? Where can people find you and watch some cool videos?
I mean, you could definitely find us you can find me and E-Man on our Whole Family Gaming YouTube channel, which is obviously where we're going to be uploading this at. And also, you could check me out on Twitter at Mattwildcard. And yeah, I have not been streaming, so I'm not going to say it right now. I'm not going to say it right now because I haven't streamed in a while, so I'm not going to sit here and be doing that. But I do plan on eventually going back once I buy a second monitor.
You're sick of using your phone to look at chat?
Yes, I want to, like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it for real.
Nice. Awesome. Well, for me, eman321, you can always find me on Twitter and Twitch if I do plan on playing games again. I'm just really glad we're getting back into this because I really feel like I can get back into this. I just want to play games. I love talking about stupid gaming subjects with you, man. So hopefully,
I love it.
Hopefully we get more into this. Hopefully we bring in more content and just have fun with this. Play some video games. But yeah, if you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can see if we upload any new episodes and other gaming related content. Like I
And I'll
said,
also be obviously I'm going back to my Doom content. I'll be still uploading those like that. So anybody who loves those,
best ASMR channel. Just saying. But yeah, feel free to join our Discord channel. I think there's going to be a description below as well too. But on behalf of everyone here at the Whole Family Gaming, thank you for your support. Whole Family out.